Welcome to Leaders Gotta Lead. Join our leaders and hosts, Dan Gomer and Scott Harshman, as they bring you powerful strategies and insights to help you lead with purpose, impact, and unstoppable success.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Leaders Gotta Lead. This is the show where we bring on leaders from all different facets of life, and at the end of the day, we're all really leaders anyway, so the cool thing is we can have anybody on the show. However, today we've got a really amazing guest. Chelsea is the kind of person who just like anything she touches just turns to gold. And so really excited to dive deeper with everything that you've been able to accomplish, Chelsea. Without any further ado, Chelsea Steen, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Excited.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a little background on Chelsea, and we were just talking a little bit about this, some of this stuff, but like really truly, these aren't platitudes. Like it's really impressive what you've been able to create. And that's why I'm excited to have you on the show because you're a great example of somebody who not only leads themselves, and pushes themselves, but you've also been in a lot of different leadership positions, and now you're in a position where you're looking to give back and coach and teach and help other people do what you do. And so I have a lot of respect for what you do. So just a little background: Chelsea was a collegiate basketball athlete. She was a shooting guard, I would assume.
Yeah.
At Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. She started a business, a painting business that she was able to sell. Eventually got into real estate during the pandemic, blew that out of the water right out of the gates, and is now working to basically we'll call it consulting, coaching to help other people do what she's done. So not to mention the world traveling piece. And, I'd like to touch on that a little bit, getting away for a year with you and your wife to travel around the world while still working. It's pretty amazing. So once again, Chelsea, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was quite the hype up. Thank you.
It was easy.
Let's hear it all now. Let's hear it all. Lay it all on the line. How do you do it? No, I'm just kidding.
So, all right, Chelsea, we always ask the first question, the same question right out of the gates. What does it mean to be a great leader to you?
Yeah, for me, I think great leaders have, you and I kind of talked about this once before, but the word that I use is ripples. You have positive ripples on the people that you come into contact with. And I think when I first got into leadership, I think I believed that, I need to be the everything, right? Like I need to take somebody from here and get them to here and do the whole thing with them. And that was pretty naive. And over the years, I've learned, no, I just need to do a great job, as good as I can with the people I have and the opportunities I have with them. And then I've done my part. They'll do the rest.
Yeah. Well, I love that idea of the ripple, and I've actually thought about it in the exact same way.
Yeah.
Um, the show's about you, but I just have to share this story really quick.
Yeah.
I was in Florida one time, and the rain was coming down. I was in like a motel, so I was standing in the front, watching the rain come down in this parking lot, and I was watching these individual raindrops like hit the ground, and you get the individual splash. And then I went to the sewer drain where all the water was running, and I just kind of started to think about like, that one little raindrop is really insignificant over here, but when you get a lot of those raindrops working together, you get a torrent of water that can shape the earth. And so when you talk about what you're doing and creating those ripple effects, that's what it reminds me of is, you have this conversation with somebody and you change the way that they do things, that ripple goes beyond you and now influences the world and becomes, independent of you at that point, which is, a very powerful way to look at leadership. Where did that idea come from for you? Because it seems like this is maybe something that you've had for a long time.
I don't know if I have had it for a long time. I think it's been honestly in the last couple of years of failing in leadership, to be frank, of trying to have a real estate team and just royally fucking that up. We still performed well. We still got top medium team, top small team, and all of that. But it was really through doing it wrong, I think, that I figured out how to do it right.
Yeah.
What did you start because I mean, I think any leader has failed as being a leader.
Yeah, totally.
Um, what did you do to realize like, hey, I'm failing? Like, was it books? Was it podcasts? Was it mentors? Like,
Mm,
where did you go to really start learning on how to be a better leader slash mentor?
yeah. Well, I think it's twofold. Number one, I've always been my harshest critic, but I also am not afraid to look in the mirror. And I think a lot of people are. And when I first got into the painting business, a business coach of mine told me, entrepreneurship is tough because it's basically just looking in the mirror all day long. Everything that happens in your business is your fault, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. And if you can look at it like that and get down to what your part is and what your role is, you're going to be a lot more successful. So I think number one, I've had that mentality for a really long time that I'm okay looking myself dead on and saying, you got to do better. You got to be better. And being honest with myself. The second thing is how have I gotten myself out of those ruts or gotten myself over the hump, which was your question, is number one, having great mentors. Um, I've been able to identify great mentors throughout my entire life, I would say, where I see somebody that genuinely wants to see me succeed. And it's not that hard to pick them out because there aren't that many of them typically. And so I've been able to find I really feel that this person wants me to succeed. They're giving me great advice, but most importantly, they're calling me out on my shit. I don't personally necessarily need a cheerleader like Chelsea, you're the best, you're the best. I actually respect and lean more into the person that wasn't great. That wasn't great. You can do better. So the mentors was huge. Um, Other self-development. I'm a huge proponent of therapy. I've been going for 12, 13 years, no intention of ever stopping in my life. That's your emotional development, that's your intellectual and mental development as well. So that's been huge. And understanding myself better helps me understand others. Um, Business coaching, always had a business coach, and books. You touched on it for sure. I definitely do like to read. I'm just really slow at reading because I try to go implement what I've just read. And so I've got one book. It's been 4 years and I just don't know. Am I ever going to finish it?
What's the book?
How to do the work.
Well, that's
It,
ironic.
it's hard. It is so hard. And every chapter, God, this is going to take me a year to figure this out.
Love that.
I love what you're saying about having a coach, right? Like I had a coach since I was 4 all the way through college, right? Like I was in baseball, different sport than basketball, like you and Dan. I have a business coach, right? Like I have a marriage coach, life coach, you name it, right? Like I think having a coach is so impactful, and I know that that's a big journey that you're going down now as well. What would you say to somebody that's out there right now that's like, I'll figure it out on my own. I don't want to have to pay somebody to coach me.
Yeah. Well, I would express some empathy for that person first, because that mentality is really tricky. That's not a growth mindset. And so that would be the first thing I would say to try to look at and work on. Of course, you can go do it by yourself. It's just going to take a lot longer. It's going to be a lot harder. And so I think if you're really interested in the path of least resistance and seeing how much you can do as a person in this life, you'd be really silly to not go make that investment into yourself.
So let me ask you this. You said that you've had great mentors in your life and you always kind of like looked and tried to find those mentors. What advice might you give to somebody who's like, I don't have any mentors. Like nobody gives a shit about me. Nobody's cheering me on or challenging me or anything. Like I don't have anybody like that in my life. What advice might you give them?
Probably two things. Number one is be that for yourself in the interim. You got to be that for yourself.
Yep.
And man, it's hard. I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of negative self-talk that I'm constantly having to work through. And that's number one is you've got to have a great relationship with you because ultimately you're the person that you're going to die with. You're the person that you got to live with. You're the only person that's guaranteed that you're going to be with forever. The second thing I would say in terms of finding great mentors is you have to put yourself out there, and that feels really risky at times. But one thing that I've adopted is when I walk into a room, I go try to talk to and engage with the most successful person in the room because I find that that person has a lot to offer me, number one. Number two, it just makes me really uncomfortable, which I know is good for me. So if you take that on and you go and you start actually leaning into the people that inspire you, I think that you are surprised often by how willing those very people are to actually sit down with you and help you. But you've got to put yourself out there and take that risk.
Yeah, yeah, you got to go find them, right? Like they don't
Yeah,
know who you are. You got to, and you have to kind of show them that you're serious, probably about growth.
yeah,
And I think that the other thing that you said that's really interesting is, I mean, you guys all heard the introduction, right? So Chelsea's done a lot of really great things. She's accomplished a lot, and yet that voice is still there. And maybe that voice never
that's
goes away.
okay.
That voice is always there. Maybe that voice is there for a reason to help drive us and motivate us. And so I just thought it was worth pointing out that it doesn't matter who you are. Like, I just spent a week in Cabo and I got to meet so many people who are like the highest tier of their field. And what I discovered from talking to them is that they're just like you and me.
Yeah.
They have the voice, they have the inadequacies, they have the problems in their life, they have all of these things. They just, find a way to work with that. They find a way to push through that. If you had like one tool that you could share with somebody about how to push through that voice is really loud right now. What might you give them advice wise on how to kind of begin to shut that voice down or work with it maybe?
There's two tools that have been really helpful for me. So one is replacement. Our minds are going to work at a high speed all the time. That's just the way that they are. So instead of the negative things that I'm saying to myself, what are the positive things I can say to myself? And that takes a lot of practice. It's affirmations. So this is part of the, miracle morning routine that I do every morning is saying nice shit to myself. And it's hard. And what I try to do is listen, like, how am I beating myself up right now? And that's the affirmation that I'm going to have today. The second thing that's been really helpful is a style of therapy, which is called somatic therapy. And, Dan, I know that you and I have talked about this, but it's actually slowing down enough to recognize what's going on. And I think in the US in particular, we're a culture that rewards people, at least verbally, for doing more all the time and going faster. And that actually just speeds that up and makes it worse. So it's really slowing down enough to recognize what is going on inside and why. And somatic therapy was really helpful for me because I'm a doer. I just wanted to go do all the time. I don't have time for feelings. I don't want to sit there and feel like, what are you talking about? And so somatic therapy helped me realize, like, actually, I'm not a robot. I have the feelings, and the more I suppress them, it's actually making things a lot worse for me. And I need to slow down and just deal with it.
Love that.
Yeah.
Scott, are you
Sorry, yeah, I'm here. Sorry,
there? We go.
my screen's like freezing on me. So
Okay.
I want to go back a little bit with your journey on athletics. I think that athletics is something that's like super, super impactful for people. And I think there's so much leadership qualities that people can learn from athletics. Was
There is.
there a coach or somebody during your athletic career that you look to and you still have a relationship maybe with that you're like, those are the characteristics that got me to where I am today?
Yeah. His name is J.R. Shoemate. He was my high school basketball coach. I feel so lucky to have had him. He transferred to our school from a nearby school, and he had never coached girls before. He'd always coached boys. So he came in as a sophomore, my sophomore year, and came in, and he learned over the next couple of years how to change his style accordingly. But yeah, I adore this man. We spoke on the phone just a couple months ago. We text. But yeah, he was a life changer for me. And he was one of these people that was no bullshit, which again, I really needed. I needed somebody to look me in the face and say, you're being a punk, or stop doing this or start doing that. So yeah, he's been monumental for sure.
I think it's interesting, right? Like I like that type of mentor and leadership as well. Like call me on my BS, like I do better. Because then it lets the little negative voice in my head get out.
Yeah.
Um, what about the people that have a hard time hearing the truth about themselves? How do you coach them? How do you lead them?
Yeah, it's a gentler approach. Um, I will say that I've had just where I'm at in my journey, I'm 32. I've struggled to lead those people, admittedly. And I'm still very much so learning and working on that. And what I have seen so far is I've got to slow down, I've got to be more gentle, and they need more positive affirmation. And it's kind of that, golden rule of like, uh, three strokes for every one poke. So, three compliments for every one negative piece of feedback. Um, but I would also just say to those people, I just want to encourage them that it's okay. We're all human. We all make mistakes. And if you're in this like shame spiral, you're the only thing standing in your way. And the more that you can actually just come to terms with that side of yourself, that I'm human and I make mistakes, life is going to get easier the more you can practice that.
Without a doubt.
And the growth is going to be so much faster too, right?
Totally.
Like if
Yeah.
if you have to be stroked 3 times and then to be poked once, your
Takes
growth is
forever.
going to be so much slower, and you're
Yeah.
still going to admit the thing that you needed to admit. It just took 6 months instead of 6 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's our willingness to just like, okay, I can do better. What do I need to do? Give it to me straight and go do it.
Yeah.
You can really shortcut that growth curve if you're just willing to admit it.
Well, and something else that I think is interesting too is if you could have the opposite, right? Three pokes for one stroke,
Yeah.
and be okay. And you said this at the very beginning of having leaders and mentors around you that truly do care about you. So if you know that somebody from a leadership and mentors position truly does care about you, they're not saying anything mean to you to like
Yeah.
make you feel bad about yourself. They're saying this stuff to you so that you can be the best version of yourself and be okay with that. It's okay to grow like that.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. So college sports. I know it's super, super hard, right? Like it's a full-time job when it's all said and done between class, having your team, having your teammates, trying to have an outside life, and then also like doing all the extra stuff, right? Like morning weights, afternoon weights, whatever it may be. Um, I think that people are always leading in some facet of their life, whether it's themselves or other people. How did you make sure that you led yourself? And how do you still make sure that you're leading yourself on a day-to-day basis? I know you mentioned the miracle morning, but what else goes into that?
Well, I want to touch on the collegiate sports really quick because I want to be honest about my experience. I don't think I'm the only athlete that has had this experience, but I was sold a dream. I got to college, and that dream is not what it was. I ended up having a terrible relationship with my coach, and she was very psychologically toxic to a lot of our teammates. And it created a bad culture. And I hated every second of it, but it also helped me do what you're alluding to now, which is figure out how to lead myself when I was not around a great leader and I could not rely on this thing that had gotten me to this point. So, what I did is I had to go find other ways to get all of this energy output. And for me, it was starting a painting business. So, I started that company as a sophomore in college because my ass was on the bench and I was bored and I, had to go do something and compete. And so, the way that I started leading myself then was taking chances on myself, big ones, big risks, leaning into failure and knowing that that's only going to help me get better. It's not necessarily just the successes, really. It's more the culmination of all of the failures that get you to the success. Um, and after that, I started developing better routine. It took a long time. I know a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with routine. We got a lot of ADHD. We don't want to be pinned down. So it took me a while. Luckily now I'm pretty dialed in, but I've got a good morning routine, which is the Miracle Morning. I highly recommend that book to anybody that does not have a great morning routine. I work out at least 4 times a week. I try to do some sort of active movement every day. Um, I eat well. I don't drink. I don't ingest caffeine. I stopped doing drugs. I wasn't doing hard drugs, but hey, I was smoking weed and doing whatever. I don't engage with any of that. So honestly, what it all kind of came down to is just choosing to take really good care of myself when I was younger. And I know that, it's a big thing in athletics is this party culture. And it's so funny that we're taking great care of ourselves with athletics and then we go out and poison our bodies. And it's just like such a thing. And at some point I had to look in the mirror and grow up. Like, that's not getting me to where I want to get to. So I would say, hopefully that answers your question. Those are like the main things that I've done and implemented outside of the therapy and the coaching and things we've talked about.
Now, when you're coaching other people, I mean, it sounds like Miracle Morning is like your staple, right?
Yep.
What else are you coaching them on when when you're trying to get them to lead themselves in the right direction?
Yeah, I do cross over into the life coaching quite a bit because I've just found that if you're just coaching on business, you end up running into the same hurdles over and over again in business because you personally actually need to develop. So routine is huge, but not just the morning routine, also the evening routine. I do coach people to, again, we've talked about this already, find mentors and to get additional waves of support. So I think, Scott, you spoke about this earlier. You've got a coach for all of these different segments and areas of your life. And what it is building customized support for you and your life. So maybe in your relationships, it's that you need a life coach, or maybe it's just that you've got a really great mentor or you have a great parent figure that's involved. Maybe it is therapy on the emotional side, or maybe you've got a great art outlet that does a similar thing for you, whatever. So it's just building out customized support and really good routine so you can get out of your way.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of curious, you've been able to do, built a business, sold it, built a real estate team, did well. Where is this? A lot of people would be good with that. They're like, okay, let's keep going down this path. I sold one painting company, I can start another one, or you know what I mean? Like keep rolling and going and going. And what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What is it about you, or was there something that happened in your life that created that spark within you to give back and go more into this coaching side of things and help other people build what you've built as opposed to just, continuing to build it for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, it was my childhood. Um, my parents divorced when I was really young. They were like, I was like 3 or 4 years old. They were both very ambitious people. And so they went and they chased their careers. And I was alone a lot. And not that they weren't, great parents and great people, they were, but I was alone a lot. And so I had to get confident because I was making decisions by myself all the time. I got very independent, but I taught myself just about everything that you can teach yourself. I taught myself how to cook, how to do laundry, because I had to do those things because no one was around to show me. And I think in doing that, I realized that while I was okay with that, that also sucks. And so I think that that just naturally helped me develop this sense that I want to teach other people how to do things so that they don't have to learn the hard lessons on their own. So I've kind of always been that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I'm the same way, just in that I look at what I had to go through and I'm like, man, I feel like I could really shortcut this for people, which is why I love running a real estate team.
Yeah.
Kind of look at how long it took. I wasn't a rocket ship to the moon like you, Chelsea. I had to I had to learn some stuff, uh,
Yeah.
and really figure it out the hard way, honestly. But eventually, I figured it out, and so there's a drive to give back, at least for me.
Yeah.
And so, how has your experience as like with your coaches and your parents, how has that really influenced your coaching style?
Yeah. So that high school.
Hey guys, Dan Gomer here with the Leaders Gotta Lead podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you are enjoying the content, and if you are, I've got great news because there's more where that came from. Just click on the link in the show notes to discover new ways to plug into what we're doing, to find new content that we're putting out, and to discover how we might be able to work together to elevate your leadership game. Just click on the link in the show notes and let's take our leadership success to the next level.
School coach I talked about, Shoemate, initially I tried to lead and coach the way he led and coached, but it's a little different when you're coaching a basketball team than when you're coaching employees. So initially it wasn't great. I had a lot of turnover in my painting company because I was just a bit of an ass, you know. I'm just like, why can't you just do this better? I don't get it. So
Get here on time.
Being better.
yeah, like just do better. I don't know. I don't get it. So yeah. So in any case, I had to soften, and I softened by having other business coaches and mentors work with me and point that out and help me learn. So I'm still very much so a driver for sure. I couldn't possibly wedge that out of myself. That's just who I am. But I think that the delivery has changed. Still not perfect, still lots of room for improvement. But it was that softening over the years that was necessary.
Yeah.
Trust me, it does get easier.
Okay, good.
Well, and then it gets harder, right? That's the whole
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about this all the time in this show, in this podcast, is it's like once it gets easy, you got a choice. You could either coast
Yeah.
or continue to get better, right? So it's like it gets a little easier. Okay, cool. Let's make it a little harder. Okay, it gets a little easier. Let's make it a little bit. Like that's how we really improve over the long haul, right? Is just continuous growth, continually looking within ourselves and finding opportunities to grow. And I love that you say that with a smile. Like, got a long way to go. Ha! You know, like, it's okay. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta laugh at yourself. Other people are laughing at you, I'm sure. So it's a lot better when you laugh at yourself.
Without a doubt.
That's right. I know a lot of people laugh at me, but
Mhm.
So, did you hire a business coach when you were 19?
No. So when I first started with the painting business, I was a part of a franchise for the first couple of years. And that was something that was assigned to you, which was reasonable. I was 19. You have me now going out and running a franchise. I absolutely need a coach. So initially they were assigned to me. And then after the first year, I started getting a little loud with the organization of, I want a different coach. No, I want a different coach because I wanted to constantly be getting pushed. And so after I left that organization, I realized, no, I still need to hire them. So I have since then hired coaches. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not have the wherewithal at 19 to know.
yeah.
So-
So do you have, so all of your mentors today are coaches and things like that you've hired?
Acquired, yeah, and also just peers, right? Like I think Amy Nako Stan at Your Castle Real Estate, and she's one of my mentors that I call. And there's another agent, Colin Whitenack, when I need an ass kicking, that's who I call. So luckily, being 32, there are a lot of people with more experience than me in life, so I find them kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think it's important to note that sometimes you have to pay for coaches, and that's
Yeah.
okay. You know, I have paid coaches just like you guys. And I have mentors that mentor me because they want to have the ripple effect.
Yeah.
They want to see, they see something in me. And the other thing that I'll say on that is, I love the piece of advice that you were saying about, when you walk into a room, you're going to go find that person that intimidates you in a good way. And you're going to go open up a conversation with them because you never know where that's going to go. Like most people are going to shy away from that person because they're intimidated. And you're like, no, I'm going to go talk to that person. And as somebody who, grew up feeling like I didn't have any mentors in my life, and wondering when they were going to come to me, like I think that was always one of my problems is I was waiting for them to come to me.
Yeah.
And I think if we really want to find mentors, if we really want to be a better leader of ourselves or of our family or of our business or whatever it is, then it's our responsibility to go find them and be brave enough to look stupid or whatever it is that's holding us back, be brave enough to face that because that's where we go find those people, They're not going to just come to us. They're waiting for us to come to them.
It gives me this visual, right, of like if you were out in the open ocean just trying to survive, and you're just waiting for a boat. There's also a raft 100 yards away. You just got to go swim to it.
Yeah. Right.
That's kind of what I imagine, that it's like life just doesn't work like that, where you just get to sit back and hope that everything warm and fuzzy is going to come to you. Unfortunately, you got to go find it.
Yeah, and there's a story out there that maybe you guys have heard this story, but there's a person who's trapped on his roof, and there's a giant flood, right? And he's like, God's gonna come save me, and like a helicopter comes, and he's like, no, 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 I don't need a helicopter. God's gonna save me. A boat comes along. I don't need a boat. God's gonna save me. And then he ends up drowning, and he's like, God, why didn't you save me? He's like, what are you talking about? I sent you a helicopter. I sent you a boat. I sent you a life raft. Like, what else am I supposed to give you? And it's that idea of just like having your eyes open, right?
Yeah,
Like having the intention to go find this is the only way you're ever going to see it.
yeah, 100%.
Sorry, I know I went off on a
I
tangent.
love that story so much. Every time I hear it, it just cracks me up. So
Yeah.
That is a great one. Hearing more of and here's a little spin off of that story. Hearing more of your personality, you're a high D on the DISC profile test. I know it. I am
how'd you
too.
know?
So I'm a high D myself. Okay, so us Ds, we know each other. So you're leading somebody, right? And 1099 employment and being a 1099 leader is very difficult because at the end of the day, all that person has to do is say, I'm out, right?
100%. Yeah.
I don't need to take this. I don't need to listen to you, that type of stuff. When do you look at it of a perspective where, okay, I need to change my leadership profile for them versus this isn't a good fit?
Yeah. So it's really funny that you bring this up. It's triggering, in fact, because I actually, even as a high D, I have what you're describing. I actually have the opposite problem. I am so committed to the people that I'm working with that I will not give up. And what I actually have had to work on and grow as a leader is it is the person and they aren't a fit. And I need to actually just let go and know that actually I'm not the best fit for them at this point and they need something else. So it's funny you ask, because I think I actually have the opposite issue.
Well, and I'm a big believer in this, right? The right coach shows up when you truly have your eyes open, kind of like the raft and the helicopter and everything else, right? Like the right leader, the right coach will show up in your life when you need it the most. You just have to open your eyes up and just go in open arms and
Yeah,
just be a sponge.
embrace it. Yeah,
Truly learn everything you possibly can and be able to implement it. And I know that in my leadership journey, right, like I've had a very hard time with some of those types of people. And I know I've learned from it, right? I'm a little bit older than you, but I've learned from it. And it's one of those things where I also have the same thing because I think it's our competitive edge that comes out
yeah,
of, no, I know this person. I can see it.
yeah.
I'll
I'm
fix
not going to
them.
give up. I'm not going to quit.
Yeah, I'm not quitting because of me. I'm going to make them a winner because I believe that they're a winner.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
100%.
So I think it's an interesting conversation to be had of, those types of people. Sometimes it is best just to let go
Yeah.
and realize like, hey, this is all about them. Um, when did you get the maturity and let the ego go to truly start saying it is about them and it's not about me?
Couple months ago.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you probably got kicked in the teeth and that's how you figured it out.
Yeah, kind of. It was it's a little complicated. Probably not if I can, step back from it, but it feels a little complicated just because it's recent. But yeah, I was trying too hard. I was doing too much, and I needed to really just learn to step back and let go. I have not had the pleasure of being a parent yet to know that sometimes you got to let your kid burn their hands so they stop touching the stove, right? And that's been a tricky thing that I've had to learn over the last year is like just let them fail, let them fall right on their face, and then they will come to you and then you can help them, but you can't save them from everything. So to answer your question, it was just a few months ago.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's such an important thing for leaders to learn, is that sometimes leadership is about just kind of stepping back
Yeah.
and letting them fail. Um, so the other
So
thing
on
I
the
heard,
flip side, real quick, I got to say something because I think this is important to know too.
Yeah.
If you are being led and you fail, understand that that person that's still leading you wants you to reach out to them.
Mhm.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
they want you to ask for advice. Let your ego go as well.
Yeah.
So if you are in a um, not leadership role being led and something does go sideways and you do fail, understand it's okay to raise your hand and ask for help. And those
right.
people will come with you with open arms and wrap them around you and say, let's go.
And if they don't,
You got to
fuck
run
them.
with it.
Go find somebody else.
Yeah,
Yes.
Do
totally.
that because there's lots of people out there who want to help and they just don't know what you need.
Yeah.
And so you got to go ask for it. And I think too that this authenticity piece, I mean, Chelsea, maybe you can elaborate a little bit on this, but it sounded like you had to get real about who you are and how you want to lead in order to work with this other person in the best way possible.
Yeah.
If you're trying, you said you were doing too much. I don't know. You explain it, but it sounds like you were doing too much for them, like what you thought they wanted you to do. You're trying to be the person that you thought they needed instead of just being you. Is that accurate at all?
Yeah, kind of. It was more of, when you see somebody in front of you, like it will go back to the swimming in the ocean. You see somebody in front of you flailing, you want to throw them the life raft that's in your hands, right? But if there's a life raft 100 yards away that they can swim to, like sometimes you can just point, hey, there's a life raft over there, or you got to do nothing and let them get their head above water and look around and figure it out. So it was more of just trying to save people all the time, right? And save them from themselves and give them, I was just doing too much and I just needed again to just sit back. And unfortunately what happens when you're doing too much, I learned, is people start to resent you, right? Because yeah, they can start to because uh, to fail or think for themselves as much, is what I learned. And so, I don't want that. That's not a good feeling. I've got people, it's like, I want to see you succeed more than anything. That's actually the problem, is it's too much. So yeah, having a feeling of resentment from someone you care so much about is not fun. So it was a kick in the teeth for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting dichotomy there. I mean, like understanding when to push, when to pull back.
Yeah.
And, if you ask me, the best way to do that is to just push too much, pull back too much, push too much, pull back too much. And then you kind
Yeah.
of dial it in over time. So as a leader, you got to be willing to fail on that front too. Like, man,
Yeah.
I really should have supported them more, or man, I pushed them away.
Yeah.
But done is better than perfect, right? Just get
Yeah.
in there, get messy, say some dumb stuff, do it wrong, so you can figure out what works for you. Like I've got my boundaries pretty clear now, but that's because I screwed it up a lot,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you said it perfectly. It's the pendulum kind of swinging, right? You just keep going back and forth and hitting your head against the wall until you get a little bit more balanced.
Right. So you get, nice bruises on both
Yeah.
sides. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, so we're not quite done yet. I want to just kind of wrap up some of the high points, the things that we've covered here, and then we've got your mystery question.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Cool. So just some of the high points here. We started out talking about the ripple effect, which, I love that concept of the ripples. You never know. Ed Milet tells the story this way. His dad was an alcoholic, and there was somebody who got him off the sauce, right? And that guy, he didn't know who he was for the longest time. And, what ended up happening then was Ed Milet's dad, came back and helped Ed Milet become the person that he is. So that's the ripple effect. That guy in the back alley
Yeah.
helped create Ed Milet. That's what's possible with the ripple effect when we take on this role, this identity of a leader. Um, Doing it wrong to figure it out, the importance of mentors, going out and getting mentors to paid mentors, have your eyes open for the life raft that's right in front of you. Like, be aware and go find it and see it. Um, Constantly working on yourself, finding ways to improve, not, shutting down that voice in the back of your mind that's trying to keep you small. How can you do that? And some of the things that you had recommended, Chelsea, therapy, lean into your mentors and your coaches, reading books, watching podcasts, like basically pouring into yourself and understanding that it's okay that you're flawed, and that will help shut down that voice. Um, the replacement theory as well, right? Replace those negative thoughts. So this is where affirmations become so important. I don't know if you ever saw Saturday Night Live with Stuart Smalley. Have you ever seen that?
Uh-uh.
Good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Nice.
Stuart Smalley's daily affirmations on Saturday Night Live. But yeah, it's about, replacing those negative thoughts with positive thoughts, which has been hugely, hugely impactful in my life. I'm a huge believer in that. Slowing down so you can speed up,
Yeah.
slowing down, going inward, taking that time for yourself so that you can understand what's going on and make the adjustments. Um, yeah, take chances, come to terms with your shortcomings. I mean, holy cow, we covered a lot of stuff. I don't know, Scott, what stood out to you the most as we went through all this?
Hire a coach.
Eric, coach.
Have a coach. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that having the right people, being in the right room with the right people that truly care about you, I think is super important. And I think Chelsea is emulating that today with us based off of her journey, her life, her stories. And I think you're doing a great job of, what you're doing in your life, not only with your team that you have, but also your consulting and coaching side of things as well. I just think it's super important. I'm a big proponent in having a coach. So I'm
Love it.
simple, okay? I'm a high D.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Chelsea, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you? Is there anything that you would like to promote? I know you're doing a lot more with coaching. We were talking a little bit offline before we started. You're starting to book some speaking gigs. You're starting to get a little bit of traction in your coaching business. And I could just tell when you were talking about it, I could see your energy like really shift. This is something you're really passionate about. So, do you want to tell everybody a little bit more about that and what you're doing, what you're building, and how they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, totally. So you can call my cell phone, text me, whatever, 740-334-9898. You can go to my website, chelseasteen.com, and find just about everything you'd want and more on there, and can reach out. In terms of, yeah, what I'm working on now, I kind of grew too fast with the real estate business and it went really well. But I realized that's not where my passion is. My passion is in coaching and developing people, and it creates the most growth for me to coach and develop. So, what I am doing is a lot of speaking, training, and teaching. So, if you're a brokerage or a small business owner and you've got sales employees of any kind, basically, and you're looking to level them up or hone in on their skills, I'd love to work with you, do a workshop, speak, teach any of those things, or develop a program. And I also do one-on-one coaching for small business owners. So open to any of that. That's the stuff that I love. So
Right on. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time and sharing all these nuggets with us. I really appreciate it. Scott, you got the final question locked and loaded.
I got it locked and loaded.
All
First
right.
thing I'm going to say is if you are needing coaching, go to Chelsea's website. Like simply call her, text her, whatever. All right, so here's a question. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice about leadership, what would it be?
man, I was a stubborn kid. So I think
What?
I
That's
know,
shocking.
I know.
No way.
So I think it would have been you don't know it all and stop pretending you do. You know you don't.
Mm,
And I would just start leaning into that failing and going invulnerable and needing help a lot earlier. Yeah.
I love it. That's great advice. Yeah, being open to being better,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and you can speak on this a little bit if you want, but we've heard that a lot on this podcast is oftentimes one of the biggest hurdles that leaders have is their ego.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it sounds like you maybe experienced that even with your coach. And I'm curious, would you say that that was maybe one of your coach's problems that you had when you were in college?
Her ego? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I was just kind of curious. It just kind of came up, I mean, like
Yeah.
when we're full of ego, it's really hard to go inward and become better. And that's not very inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to lead others, right? When you're only focused on you. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I mean, like I said, we got some really great tidbits here, and so we really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Chelsea.
Yeah.
All right. So, thank you all, by the way, all of you that are watching. We want to thank you as well. And remember that we're all leading someone at some point in our life, even if it's just leading ourselves. So let's just get out there, do the best that we can, screw it up as fast as we can, because at the end of the day,
Leaders got to lead.
yes, sir. All right. Thanks, everyone.